The Xin Dynasty, the great experiment that destroyed an empire. Wang Mang and the radical utopian reform that failed ancient China. Chapter 1. Around 1 CE, after 200 years of glory, the Western Han Dynasty was haunted by mounting hidden crises. Unchecked land annexation displaced countless self-sufficient farmers, turning them into destitute wanderers. Successive emperors passed away at an early age. Young child monarchs occupied the throne. Imperial authority steadily waned. The Wang maternal relatives seized tight control over the Chang'an court. The whole empire yearned for thorough reform to resolve the severe gap between rich and poor. A learned Confucian intellectual, widely revered for impeccable moral conduct, rose to hold ultimate power. He firmly trusted that reviving ancient institutions and rituals would create a perfectly harmonious, ideal society. In 8 CE, Wang Mang claimed the throne and founded the Xin Dynasty, the most extraordinary regime in ancient Chinese history. This event was far more than an ordinary dynastic shift. It represented an unprecedented, large-scale utopian social experiment, drawing upon the Book of Han and archaeological discoveries. This documentary explores 3 pivotal historical questions. Wang Mang took power peacefully with enormous popular support. Why did the entire empire spiral into chaos in just over a decade? Policies such as the state-owned land system, market regulation, and currency restructuring originated from noble idealism. What led to their total collapse? How did the collapse of Xin spark the massive Green Forest and Red Eyebrows uprisings, clearing the path for Emperor Guangwu to restore Han rule? Generations of accumulated social crises, inherited from Western Han, landed on the shoulders of the idealist Wang Mang. His revivalist reform campaign ultimately devolved into a nationwide catastrophe. Chapter 2. Path to Power. The Rise of Wang Mang and the Peaceful Usurpation of Han. 49 BCE. 8 CE. Wang Mang belonged to the powerful Wang imperial clan of late Western Han. Unlike his extravagant relatives, he lived frugally, respected Confucian learning, treated scholars kindly, and aided poor people. These deeds earned him extraordinary fame across the empire. During the reigns of Emperor Cheng and Emperor A, the Wang clan experienced dramatic political ups and downs. When the young Emperor Ping ascended the throne, Wang Mang regained control of the court and was granted the title Duke of Anhan. He founded schools, promoted ancient rituals, and distributed relief supplies to ordinary civilians. He steadily built his public image as a sage ruler. In 6 CE, Emperor Ping passed away. Wang Mang placed the 2-year-old Ying on the throne as heir and governed the realm as acting emperor. Countless officials and Confucian scholars submitted petitions. They claimed the mandate of heaven had shifted away from the Liu clan. In 8 CE, Wang Mang accepted the nominal abdication from Ying. He ascended the imperial throne, founded the Xin Dynasty, and retained Chang'an as the national capital. This transfer of power occurred with nearly no large-scale bloodshed. Many Confucian intellectuals of that era regarded it as an ideal transition endorsed by heaven. Almost no one foresaw that utopian ideals would soon collide violently with harsh reality. Wang Mang conquered the realm relying on moral prestige, yet he gravely underestimated deeply entrenched land-owning elites. His ideal institutional blueprint lacked solid practical foundations from the very beginning. Chapter 3. Grand Revivalist Institutional Adjustments. Overview of new policies and hidden deficiencies. 8 CE, 17 CE. After ascending to formal authority, Wang Mang quickly carried out far-reaching institutional adjustments, guided by ancient Confucian writings. He hoped to resolve land concentration and unequal social conditions, passed down from the Western Han period through comprehensive changes, royal land regulation, and private ownership of farmland. All farmland would be categorized as public land, and land transactions were restricted. Every household could obtain a designated area of farmland. Large landholders were required to redistribute extra land to farming families without land. This rule was designed to balance the influence of powerful local families. Impact: the arrangement went against the interests of landowners nationwide, leading to broad, passive non-cooperation. Detailed standards for execution were not formulated, making consistent local implementation difficult. Regulation on servant transfers: limit the trade of servants and protect the personal freedom of vulnerable groups. Impact: established clans expressed strong opposition. Many servants lost stable livelihoods, and the number of displaced people increased rapidly. 5 market balancing policies and 6 state-managed industries. Official market institutions were founded in 5 major cities to stabilize commodity prices. Salt, iron, fermented drinks, currency casting, mountain resources, and public lending came under official management with the goal of limiting excessive gains by merchants. Impact: the official system lacked sufficient principled administrators. Local officials cooperated with opportunistic traders and burdened ordinary residents. Frequent updates to currency standards. Within little more than 10 years, he released knife-shaped coins, spade-shaped coins, and many new currency types, and repeatedly adjusted their stated value. The state encouraged the residents to hand over gold and older coins in exchange for newly issued currency with lower real value. Impact: the currency system suffered major disorder. Domestic exchange of goods was disrupted. Ordinary households lost a large portion of their assets, and commercial activities nearly slowed to a halt. Large-scale revision of official titles and place names. Names of counties, towns, and official positions were revised to match standards recorded in ancient ritual texts. Local management fell into disorder. Official notices could no longer be delivered and carried out smoothly. Apart from domestic institutional adjustments, Wang Mang revised the honor titles of frontier tribal leaders and adjusted the status assigned to rulers of the Xiongnu and western regions. This triggered sustained tensions along border areas. The steady border arrangement formed in the late Western Han became unstable. Large-scale frontier confrontations emerged, which pushed the central government to collect higher levies from residents. He aimed to achieve stability and prosperity by restoring ancient institutions, trying to reshape the whole society, relying mainly on official orders. While his plans came from sincere expectations, these institutional arrangements were far removed from practical realities. Every adjustment measure eventually brought new hardships across the realm. Chapter 4: The realm descends into turmoil. Natural calamities, policy deficiencies, and the rise of green forest red eyebrow groups. 17 CE, 23 CE. Continuous policy adjustments intensified social tension. Severe droughts and locust plagues swept the central plains, causing widespread food scarcity, while the government could not provide effective support. With difficult living conditions, civilians formed large-scale community forces. In southern Jingzhou emerged the Green Forest Group. In eastern Shandong, the Red Eyebrow Group developed. These two major local forces steadily took over regional cities. Former Han imperial clansmen and local influential families organized troops to counter the Xin regime. Wang Mang still trusted traditional rituals and heavily mandate. He held frequent sacrificial ceremonies, praying for national stability, while hastily assembling troops to stabilize regional unrest. Yet Xin's governance deteriorated, troop morale declined, and official forces faced repeated setbacks. In 23 CE, the decisive Kunyang campaign took place. Wang Mang dispatched more than 400,000 elite troops to overwhelm the Green Forest Han forces. Liu Xiu commanded a few thousand defenders and reinforcements, launching a sudden strategic attack. Xin's core military strength suffered total breakdown in this single engagement. After the severe defeat at Kunyang, Xin's governance fell apart completely. Local officials switched allegiance in large numbers, and advancing groups marched straight toward Chang'an. Natural disasters awakened long-held public dissatisfaction. The Battle of Kunyang erased Xin's military foundation. More than 10 years of idealistic governance experiments ended in a tragic collapse. Chapter 5. End of the Dynasty. Fall of Chang'an and collapse of Xin, 23 CE. In October 23 CE, Green Forest groups gained full control of Chang'an. Amid widespread social unrest and street chaos, Wang Mang retreated to the Jian platform. He lost his life amid the rapidly shifting turmoil. His legendary story spread throughout the entire realm. The Xin Dynasty, which lasted merely 15 years, finally came to a complete end. For thousands of years, ancient historical texts portrayed Wang Mang as an illegitimate usurper of power. However, modern researchers hold alternative perspectives. He was not merely a calculating political opportunist, but a devout and dedicated institutional reformer. He firmly upheld Confucian idealistic doctrines and committed himself to rebuilding social order through comprehensive institutional adjustments. History delivers a timeless and profound lesson. Pure noble intentions can never compensate for policy plans mismatched with the real social conditions. Wang Mang attempted to reshape national land systems and economic structures through top-down imperial arrangements. Yet he overlooked the powerful influence of local elites, fragile grassroots governance, and objective socioeconomic rules. The collapse of the Qing regime triggered long-term nationwide turbulence. The ancient capital Chang'an sustained severe structural damage. Severe food scarcity plagued the entire Guangzhou region. Diverse local power factions competed fiercely for regional dominance, dragging the country into prolonged unrest. This chaotic situation persisted for years until Liu Xiu gradually unified the nation and restored stability. The 15-year Xin Dynasty stands as a typical tragedy of idealized governance. It perfectly proves that radical institutional reforms without practical grounding will inevitably accelerate the decline and collapse of a ruling system. Chapter 6. Historical Review. Civilizational Lessons plus Discussion. Topics plus Next Episode. Preview. Sandwiched between Western Han and Eastern Han, the Xin Dynasty is often regarded as a transitional interlude, yet it contains extremely profound historical lessons. Confronted with a severe land crisis inherited from Western Han, Wang Mang adopted a radical revivalist path, which ultimately ended in total failure. Liu Xiu, founding emperor of the Eastern Han, drew vital lessons from this collapse. He implemented moderate policies to ease tensions between landowners and peasants. Two core historical takeaways. Social reform cannot depend merely on ancient ideals and classical texts. It must respect grassroots realities and diverse interest groups, and move forward in gradual, steady steps. Inside a unified empire, if unchecked, land concentration and wealth disparity persist for generations, large-scale domestic turmoil will eventually break out, even in the absence of foreign invasion. Two discussion topics for the comment section. General viewers. Many online viewers joke that Wang Mang was a time traveler. Is this only entertaining folklore, or do his policies truly feature ahead of their time characteristics? Hardcore history audience. Which factor triggered the rapid fall of Xin? The chaotic currency reforms, the royal land system, or the combined impact of frontier conflicts and natural disasters? We recounted the rise and fall of Western Han in the previous chapter. Today we have dissected the short-lived utopian experiment of the Xin Dynasty. Next episode preview, founding of Eastern Han Liuxu and the Guangwu Restoration. Subscribe to follow the complete chronological series covering the Qin and Han dynasties. Ideals can never substitute practical governance. Reviving ancient institutions cannot reverse deep-seated systemic crises. Wang Mang's Xin Dynasty remains the most thought-provoking tragedy of reform in ancient Chinese history.